Alright. Hello, hello. How is it going? Hello, hello. Good evening, friends. How goes it? Let's see who's here. Drua. Holy shit, a Wooting? Yeah. 765, hello. ODM. Hello, hello, yo. Tanuki. Yeah, for a client. Yeah, I didn't buy it for myself. Cloudiac, hello. Futurebound, Katumbas, hello. Thwompy keyboard enjoyers. Alex D, welcome, buddy. How you doing? Rienfo, hello. Happy Monday indeed. Ewan, thank you so much for the 9 months. Laser was good. CBA, Mr. Captain Badass, how are you? Alright, let's get started. So as you can see in the title, today's a little bit of a different build. Today we have a Wooting 60HE build, or rather modded. We're basically just gonna replace the stock switches, stock keycaps, stabs, pretty much everything. And then we're just gonna move the internals over to a different case, which is basically what a lot of people do. The Wooting 60HE, you'll see, is basically a poker style, traditional 6-point poker style tray mount. And it's been pretty popular recently because it's one of the few keyboards out there that support Hall effect based mechanism based switches. These are developed by Gateron and they're called Lekker switches. And so yeah. Gaming keyboard, so to speak. I got all the parts over here. So we got the switches. Here's the Wooting 60 itself. And so how about we get started with these guys first, just like get it opened up. So this is this actually came pretty much new. I only obviously like undid the packaging so that I could see that everything was good. And so this is what's included. It basically has this like postcard. I believe Wooting is a company based in the Netherlands, which is why they have some Netherlands references over there. And yeah, it also has the strap assembly, but for the original case. So if you're still using the original case, then you can put this strap on the case. Unfortunately, if you put this into an aftermarket case, you can't really put this strap on. Then in the back, we have a few things. Let's see, we have some replacement switches for the original Lekker 60 or L60s. And then we have some extra screws, a keycap puller, and the strap holder thing. Yeah, the strap holder for the case if you are going to use that. So yeah, we don't really need any of these guys though, so I'm just gonna put these away. It comes with its own USB A to C cable. It's this black and yellow colored one. Simple USB A to C. Can put that aside. I bought these O-rings. These O-rings, I just got them based on the recommendation from, I think, Keyboard and Batsy Tech, who made videos on modding their like tray mounts and stuff, their Wootings, and so they recommended using these. These are just standard M2 compatible O-rings. So we're just gonna burger mount the case. The assembly inside. Hello, Mr. Yuri. Thank you so much for the raid. How are you? Hello, hello. Into a Duck Mini. Do you like the Duck Riser one? I actually don't like the V2. I actually really don't like the V2. The V1 is so much prettier. But anyway, no, obviously not a duck poker. Funzy. Alright, so Dot, hello. How's it going? Thank you so much for the raid. Yuri, how are you, my friend? If you don't know Yuri, shout out to Yuri. He's a streamer from Spain. Does some keyboard content as well. Anyway, so this is the Wooting in its stock, completely stock form. It comes with these PVT, I think PVT double shot caps. It has the transparency for the RGB to come through their north-facing switches, but you can technically mount them south-facing as well. So Hall effect switches depend on this magnet that's in the switch. So the orientation of the switch actually doesn't matter whether it's north-facing or south-facing. The only thing that attaches them to the PCB is the PCB mount pegs that are on the switches. So you'll see that in a bit. But yeah. So that's pretty much all we need from the original box here. The Enya Gang. Una bola de ñoños aquí. No se crean, eh? Anyway. So, yeah. Wooting case over here. So it's very, very nice and smooth. Because all that the Lekker switches have is just a spring and the slider doesn't really make contact with anything other than maybe the sides a little bit. But they're very, very smooth, prelude from factory. So they sound pretty good. It looks like the stabs do have a decent amount of factory lube in them, so they actually sound pretty good too. We could actually use the stock stabs, but well, I'm just going to replace them with the TX one, which are a little less prone to problems in the future, hopefully. And yeah, sounds pretty good. I can do like a typing test. Oh, the filter must have been filtering a lot of that, I think. So yeah, here. Anyway, so this case does come with its own keycaps and switches, and it has, I believe, the steel plate. It's a stock plate, PCB of course, and then lastly, it does have some dampeners inside of the case. So there's that. And then I bought, at the request of the client, I bought some Lekker 45 switches. These are Wooting's lighter spring switches. Basically, the client here wanted to go with the most gamer-friendly combination, which is to use a lighter spring switch. I went ahead and modded these just by lubing them with 205 grade 0, which is what I wrote here. And yes, hopefully in the future it will be nice to see split right shift and different layout stuff. That would be actually really nice. But yeah, unfortunately on this one it's pretty much complete stock 60% layout, the original poker style 6.25U, all the stabs. So yeah, the stabs are plate mounted, just so you know, they're not PCB mounted. But yeah, I modded these switches just after they arrived. So we'll be replacing the Lekker 60 switches, so the 60 gram switches here in the current board, and then we're going to replace those with these 45s that are lubed, and then replacing the stabs and then putting them into the other case as well. So I think the first thing I want to do, just for like reference, is kind of, why don't we type on this one time and then go ahead and kind of like go into the, like, you know, go into the building, the modding, and then we're gonna type on it again. Just kind of like to see like a before and after. Might be better before, might be better after, I don't know. I haven't done a mod like tray mount mod like this in a long time, but it'll be worth giving it a shot. And of course here we are trying to kind of give it like more of a premium feeling to it. So we also got a FJELL, Mekanisk FJELL aluminum case for it, which is pretty much as expensive as it goes for a lot of trays. This is like a $300 tray with a brass weight and everything. So it's kind of like the hefty version of the trays, right? There's of course a tofu which goes for like, I think like $100, right? So there's that. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and take this to the side. And yes, you can buy Lekker switches. I believe the KBD fan store also has those orange ones. I haven't tried those, but the 45s are in the Wooting store, and that's where I ordered these from. So yeah. All right. So let me go ahead and put the mic in place. Okay, so plug that in, get that cool gamer mode aesthetic here. This is a true gamer aesthetic with the RGB already on here. Boom. So let's give it a shot. Oh, sorry for the honking outside. Clearly there is something outside blocking the road and people are getting really desperate. I happen to be close to the ramp here, coming in from one of the freeways or highways or whatever, so it kind of gets a little loud. Sometimes. Mostly during rush hour, which is basically right now. So yeah. All right, let's give this a shot though. This is the stock Wooting build. So this is the Lekker 60s stock with factory lube, with stock stabs, in the stock case with all the foam that's in it, and pretty much nothing else. And the stock keycaps. So let's give this a shot. All right, here you go. Let me do this just so that it doesn't suddenly go crazy with the focus. All right, here you go. It's true that it does sound a lot better than a lot of OEM boards. That's the first thing I can say right away. It is pretty damn smooth, to be honest. One thing that I do hear is some like kind of like ticking. Not sure if it's the spring crunch or like leaf, but basically something coming from the switch itself. It might be the clear tops, also kind of like higher pitch, right? So I do hear a lot of that of the stock switch sort of sound, stock switch sort of noise. And then there's like a little bit of ticking coming from the stabs, but it's actually not bad for stock. And the keycaps do actually feel nice, like texture-wise. But you know, I don't know how that would compare relative to like Cherry Profile. So we can, you know, give it a try with something else. So here are the mods. Oh yes, no leaf. You're right. So it must be the spring. My bad. Yeah, you're right. No leaves. There's just the spring. So it must be a spring crunch or the top housing. So like the stabs are not bad. So that's what this sounds like. Completely stock, completely bone stock. As you can see, it does sound kind of have this like rattly sort of noise to it, which is interesting. But yeah, the switches also don't support films. That's also true. The closure of the top and bottom housing is different for Lekker switches. So like standard switch films for MX switches won't work for this. But yeah. So definitely not too bad. I do think that for what I thought was an OEM standard back in the day, you know, like 5-6 years back, it was a lot worse before. I think this is a lot better. That said, I do think there have been a lot of pre-builts that have been pretty decent. And so like this, I think it's right at that bar. And I do really like how these Lekkers do feel. Like they do feel pretty smooth. You can definitely tell that there's some of that, like, you know, like it's just like a regular kind of spring action. But you know, there is a lack of contact in some way, so they do feel pretty smooth. But that said, I do still think stock they do feel pretty similar to what a lot of standard like standard MX switches do feel like completely stock as well. You know, there is some amount of friction and some amount of resistance that you do feel, but it still is mostly what you're feeling is just the spring and the magnet action going on there. But you definitely, you know, if you like do a little bit of like off center, you kind of do feel a little rubbing, but that might be coming from like the top housing or the bit of the slider there. But you know, it's not like a huge deal. So let's go on to the build. And yes, the springs, I mean the switches are made by Gateron. They do use a different spring. I'll actually show that in just a bit. So let me actually unplug that now. And thoughts on getting a Wooting and swapping out for Cherry Mix Blacks? You can't. You can't. You can't. Because the PCB doesn't let you. Right? I mean, that would be cool though. If there, where is the Cherry MX Black of Hall Effect of Lekker? That would be kind of cool to see that. Slight bit of scratchiness, and that like top out sound that's very characteristic of Cherry. That would be nice. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take it apart. So first things first is we are going to take off the keycaps, right? So you can go ahead and access the internals, and we're gonna have to take off all the switches too. We're gonna take off the PCB and the plate here. We're gonna take off the stabs, and then we're gonna put everything else that we have here onto the new build that we're gonna make with it. What's your top one TKL keyboard at the moment? Huh. I haven't built my Jaguar yet. I heard it's pretty nice. That said, I think the Jaguar is essentially like a lot like what the Jane V2 is like, so it's pretty up there. That said, I think lately I've been using the Bias quite a bit. I've been using the Dodgy 84 quite a bit, and the Mary C 84. I've been using those a lot. But yeah, I guess the Mary C is also like a Jane. So there's that. But yeah. One or two XL. Oh, I mean my 84 is just the first one, the group by one. So yeah, I will actually disassemble one of these Lekker switches so I can actually show you what the Hall Effect switches do look like. You will also be able to see the PCB directly. So we will take everything apart and we'll actually look at it. So people, like if you're new to Cherry MX versus these Lekker Hall effect switches. You can actually see the difference on the camera here. But yes, this would also fit in other trays. The tofu would fit, the Klippe would fit, the Salvation would fit. Yeah, pretty much any standard 6-point style poker case will work. You can also put it in an original poker case as well if you want it. It's left side USB like other poker style cases. So yeah, so nothing with like a daughter board and central USB unless you want to wire things up like that, but that's a mod you'll have to figure out yourself. So it's doable, but it's kind of annoying. All right, so take those off. And then let's go ahead and actually take off the internals from the case. So it's so the Wooting here uses 5 screws instead of 6, but it does have the opening for the center standoff as well. But on the Wooting plastic case here, the stock case, they actually don't use it. So 5 screws here. These are with Phillips screws. And you should just be able to remove the internals like that. Just gonna carefully flip it over so I can get all the screws. Did I miss one? Might have rolled over there, but I do have some extras, so. All right. Let's put the screws aside for a sec. Oh, here it is. Fell into the case. So the Wooting does come with foam pre-installed. It's pretty compressible foam. It has like 2 layers to it. One that lines the back like this. It's attached with adhesive, but it's technically 2 layers. And one thicker one that kind of lines the whole case. So obviously it has the cutouts for the case standoffs. There's just threaded standoffs here, injection molded case, right? And you know, you can just put the case in there. I mean the assembly in there. So we're just gonna put this aside. This is the original Wooting case. Hello, Kate. How's it going? Oh, not focusing. My bad. I forgot about the autofocus here. But yeah, just the Wooting case here. So put that aside for now. Lose it. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove the switches. So, gotta find my switch puller. Are there some poker style trays that don't take USB-C? I think most openings on poker cases are large enough for USB-C, but yeah, I mean, I guess you just said that your fake hammer case had an issue with that, but I think most cases seem to have decent amount of clearance. Do you have a Wooting yourself? I don't. I genuinely cannot justify it. I just have a lot of keyboards, you know? And I've really taken a big break from buying a lot of new stuff. I have a lot of other stuff that I haven't built myself yet, and so I can't justify getting anything new. That's kind of been the main motivation. This would be compatible with the June, yeah. Pretty much anything that supports standard standoffs, standard poker style standoff positions with left side USB would work, right? I want to hear Najun. Well, if I can keep this around for long enough, and I can borrow a June from somebody, maybe someone, I guess someone in the States could send it to me pretty quickly. I could always try it. Diego saying he has a lot of keyboards, like Bill Gates saying he has a lot of money. No way. But I guess it is. No, it is true. I have a lot of keyboards, to be quite honest. So I have no excuse. I'm not gonna deny it, right? You separate the PCB and plate so the switches come out much nicer. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could like do that, but since these are these PCB mount pegs, there's like 2 of them anyway. Like just pulling it from above is fine. And there's also like plate foam here, so that's like the foam that goes between the PCB and the switch and the plate. So there's that too. Anyway, yeah, I mean, taking these out is actually pretty easy, so just carefully pull the switches one at a time using the puller. Just come right off. Think I have the same problem. As much as I want this board, I have way too many. Yeah. It's just one of those things, right? Also, I think after the move, right, after I moved from my previous place to this one, I effectively did have like a decrease in the amount of like storage space and whatnot. At least like how I decided to distribute and stuff, and I decided that it's for the best for me to just stay where I am and not get anything more. Hog Wooting keyboards come with Helios. They're kind of like Helios, yeah, same color, right? They do have a milky bottom, which is interesting. Milky bottom, clear top. I actually kind of wish these had like a milky top, you know? That rainbow switch puller is cool. Yeah, I got this one from Canon Keys recently. They should sell it now, I think. It's pretty nice. It's what I do like about it is it's slightly longer than all the other ones that I've had, and it's still made of a pretty nice like heavier material like steel, right, or brass, right, or like whichever it is. And I mean the rainbow part is cool, but I think the most important thing is ease of use, and the fact that it doesn't like bend just because you're pulling some switches from a board. But yeah, the maneuverability of the puller is a little better because it's a little longer in length. So that was nice. And the little arms that fit into tabs are slightly bent. Yeah, they bend really easily. For a lot of pullers. That's what I don't like about a lot of pullers. So that those little arms, like these little arms right here at the tips, they bend pretty easily in a lot of pullers. Okay. Hello, Soar. Or Sure. I hope Jiyoung can cook up a deal with Gateron to make full nylon lekkers. Well, that'd be cool. All right, so I think there are screws attaching the PCB to the plate, and from what I can also see, it appears there is a few standoffs here that are, I hope they're not like welded or soldered, so can't basically just like, I mean, not to mention, I don't really think there will be too much interesting stuff to see on top of the PCB. Like most of it is already visible. So as you can see, aside from the LED, right? Like that's the LED over there. There are these little squares, right? That correspond to the way these Hall effect switches get red, right? In each position. And what's most important about the Lekker switches here is that, oh, hi Cam, I really like the CNC TX puller. I've heard good things about it too. So I'm gonna open up one of the Lekker switches here. We can kind of go into the details of it. So here is one of the Lekker switches, right? So open up, here's a clear top, has the Gateron branding. It was north facing initially. So it has the Gateron branding kind of like facing upward, right? North facing. You have a clear window for LED diffusion. It doesn't support any like through-hole diodes. And here is the switch. This is the design of the Lekker switch. So let me start from the front here. So from the front here, you only have this little leg that just serves as a guide. So it's just a plastic guide for the little slider. But otherwise, you have MX compatibility stem, right? And the sides are pretty much the same as most MX style switches, right? And the bottom here has a little magnet embedded into the stem. So the stem is actually a larger diameter than standard Cherry MX because it needs to include this little magnet. And it's basically the magnetic field reading, right? Like it's the Hall effect depends on an electric and magnetic field, right? If you took a introductory physics course, you probably know about the Hall effect, but basically it's E fields and B fields crossing, and you can basically read out, you know, like movement of current. And so you can basically, yeah, basically that. Anyway, it's been a while. But, you know, basically there is a little magnet there. And as you go up and down, you can basically read its position. There is a larger spring, of course. So standard MX style springs won't work. The diameter of this is larger. And then finally, the housing is hollow because that little magnet, right, needs to come out at the bottom. Right, like you actually need to have access to that magnet there. So basically, if you close this switch now, you have that magnet coming in as it comes down. The switch, the slider, as it comes down, you get that magnet really close to the bottom. So yeah, any bottom out sound won't be from this center pole. It'll be from the slider hitting the bottom of the switch. So yeah, so that's the Lekker switch design here by Gateron for the Hall effect style switches. Pretty cool. Diego, are you thinking most of us remember our physics course? No, but I majored in physics and I used TA, so I kind of have the habit of saying, oh, if you remember from your intro physics course. Anyway, give me 1 second. I just need to do something real quick. I actually just need to press start on my rice cooker. So give me a second. Okay, all right, I'm back. I just pressed start on that. It did its little jingle song. All right, so that's Lekker switches here. Gonna put those aside for now, and we can go ahead and remove the stabs as well. So these are plate mount stabs. So plate mount stabs look like this. This is just standard Cherry plate mount from what it looks like. Or maybe Gateron. But you know, Cherry style. Yeah, I think it's Gateron actually. But yeah, it looks like that. And it does have a significant amount of lube here, kind of like pre-injected in there from the factory. So you can see that's pretty much what's preventing some of the rattle, but it's not perfect application. So you can have some rattle if you just are too lucky with that application. But I think the stock stabs are actually not so bad. So I actually do think a lot of pre-builds have better stock stab experiences than a lot of these boards used to have in the past. Worst feeling ever when you want to eat your rice and your rice is only warm and not actually cooked. Oof. Oh boy. No, I was just soaking the rice. So I was I have I normally don't eat just pure white rice anymore. Not nearly as much. At least at home I try to mix it with either brown or black rice. So I have black rice mixed into it with some black beans. So I was just soaking it for a bit so that it would soften some of the beans a bit. Alright. So there it is, our PCB. It's kind of interesting. It has these silk screen prints here, like stab ones, and all these little random icons. Kind of funny, you know, like if you're replacing your switches, you can see all this stuff. It's kind of neat. In it to win it. Anyway, pretty cute. Alright, let's put those aside. Diego, have you tried dashi rice? I saw a recipe for it. I saw a recipe for it too. I have not tried it. Okay. So we have, next up we should go ahead and unpack our case and the stabs here. Maybe I'll grab a little Ziploc or something to put everything into a bag. Diego, zoom in on the 6 key. For what? For the PCB? Trust? Can't trust when you say trust. But I'll do it anyway, just because it's probably funny. You wash it, you put it in the rice cooker and leave it be, and in 15 minutes you have cooked rice. Huh. Interesting. Diego, lava is flowing towards your house. You have 1 minute to save your 3 favorite board switches you're grabbing. Okay, I can probably replace most of my HKBs, so probably not them, just because they're replaceable. But I probably grab my JMV2, my 356 Mini, and probably my Rogue, Ion Rogue, because it's like personally pretty significant to me. So it was... Alright, 6 key, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This? What's B? What's BP? Blackpink in your area. K-pop. Alright, so here's our FJELL. So we have our plate mount stabs. These are 7U, but I do have a bunch of 6U wires, 6.25U wires, so we're gonna just grab one of those. Got our tray mount screws. And here I had already unpacked the case, that's why it's already out of the packing paper. But basically comes in this nice foamed box, so we can easily ship it out in this too. Once the build is done, and also include accessories if needed. Oh, my friend did a FJELL Wooting board too? How do they like it? I actually don't know anybody, at least that I personally know, who have one, so haven't really looked into it much. Aside from some people did post it like online, and it seems like they like it, but you know, everything's subjective, so. They love it. He's a CS competitor. Oh, wow. Cool. Anyway, these were ordered with the dampening foam here. So they have 2 layers. Can use 1, can use 2. Has a brass weight here on the inside. And it's a silver anodized. The silver anodizing is kind of like reminiscent of like a duck, but it's like very smooth anode still. But has a little bit of like greeny sort of like look texture to it. Visual texture rather, but as far as if you touch the anode, it's not like gritty or like sandpaper. It's actually very smooth, so that part is nice. It uses custom bump-ons here, these right angle shaped ones. Pretty cool. FJELLs definitely have come a long way since they were first made. I still have a FJELL R1 in purple. I kept it because I really like the purple of that case. But yeah. Also, the standoffs can be removed. Mainly just these two brass standoffs. You can remove this one and this one. We actually will remove the middle one here since the Wooting one also didn't use it. So just gonna put that aside. Yeah, very shiny indeed. So anyway, let's go ahead and put the case aside for a sec. I want to try one pot rice cooker recipes, maybe chicken first. It shouldn't be too hard. There's a lot of ways to go about that, right? So how close do these switches sound to Holy Pandas? None at all, I guess. Nothing like them at all, I guess. You can use FJELL and Wooting, that's crazy? I mean, you can use, yeah, any tray-mounted case. So FJELL is one of them, but there's a lot of other options too. Alright, let's take out these stabs here. Oh, I guess I did put the 625 wire already here. 70 wire to split aside. Okay, let's get our little foam piece here, just to not make a mess with the 205. Put all the pieces apart. So these are yeah, plate mount. Okay. Alright, let's put those keycaps aside as well. Damn, Arisa, this guy doesn't even see it. Where's my parasocial interaction? Nacho, what's up, fucker? Thanks for the resub, buddy. Thanks for the 25. All right. Let's get started here. Let's grab a brush and lube these guys. Well, let me first check something really quick. How's the fitment of these guys? These don't look like AP stabs actually. So let's take a look though. Oh, the movement seems pretty good on this. I mean, I think also plate mount tends to loosen up more, so. Yeah, these are fine. These will be okay. All right, cool. Let's just go ahead and lube these stabs up. I've tried them without lube first. I would still recommend lubing them. But yeah, should be okay. You have TX plate mount stabs ready to be lubed for my Poker 2? Oh, nice. Poker 3, huh? Cool. I think the key point for stabs, especially these TX stabs, is always the wire. So just lubing the part where the wire goes in. It's the most important part of it. Hello, Holly Monka. Did you Do you get your mail, by the way? I mean, I am assuming you probably did, but just to make sure. Hiding lube tech? What do you mean hiding? I mean, you can just ask me questions if you're curious. Ooh, that's a lot. So for the wire, I just do even coat, even thin coat of 205, just around the bend. And then I apply a little bead towards the top part where the wire is gonna make the most contact with the plastic piece, where it tends to tick. So just get that going. Clip it on. You can only keep one keyword out of your collection. Which keyword would it be? I'm not sure actually. That I'm not too sure. One keyword. I mean, like, I've answered this question many different ways. I really like how the HKB is just a replaceable board, as in like if something happens to it, I can always get a new one modded the same way and have a good time anyway, because I like the HKB in general. But like there are boards that I own that are kind of like personally significant, like, you know, I like am attached to them emotionally or whatever, or like maybe are like boards that I've always wanted and got them and, you know, want to keep them for a long time, that kind of stuff. So there's that. And so I think my answer would vary depending on the day, but I think the three like those three boards that I mentioned earlier, I think it was like the JMB2, the Rogue, and the 356 Mini, are probably like the ones that I like have the most attachment to. So yeah. Which I kept the Philco camo. You can always get a Philco camo again though. They're not super difficult to find. They're a little bit hard to find. I mean, maybe sometimes, but it's kind of like time dependent, but you can always get a new one. And there's like custom controllers, like programmable controls for it too, actually. So yeah, you can always get a new Philco camo. Need to go to a dentist? Did I notice I'm missing molars on the one side? Wait, missing molars? They just never grew? What the hell? If you could own one entire colorway of an artisan, which would it be? Ooh, that's tough. I really like some of my favorite. Okay, so like Keyset Mash colorways, I really like Hyperfuse and Carbon if it's like a very colorful kind of set. Neutral, like Beige and Wob are kind of like the obvious choices, right? If you want something more neutral, right? So like, you know, like black, white, red, like beige, black, right? Combos. And then I think another colorway like combo that goes really well together that in general looks really good, it's like purple and teals or purple and blues. Not necessarily Hyperfuse related, but kind of like that vapor wavy sort of like style. With like maybe some translucency that can look really good. There's also like a darker, like a deeper blue, like a navy-ish color with like a deeper red with some white can look really good, kind of like a little bit patriotic, but like that tone can also look really good. There's a few choices I would do here, but I think it would probably depend on what I actually like using artisans with boards, so it would probably depend on what board I have. Care to check because they hurt? It's like they're coming out now for some reason. Ooh, okay. Oh yeah, that's worth going to a dentist for sure, just to make sure everything's okay too. I mean, if they hurt already, that's not good, but you should definitely get a check. Not wisdom teeth? Oh, I see. Do you have a K? I saw KV2 and I'm really tempted because I'm starved from MXHKV. I do have a KV1. I like it personally. And yeah, the V1 is very different from the V2. There's no real comparison to it. They're basically completely different boards. The only common feature that they have is that they're being released by Monokey. Really. But board-wise, they're just different entirely. Mounting, like layout is the same, sure, but everything else is different. So yeah, it's not O-ring. It uses these little gasket socks, kind of more in the style that a lot of gasket mounted boards have gone towards. HC sides and also feet. Yeah, custom all the feet as well, I believe. Yeah, no, it definitely looks interesting. I definitely am interested in trying one out. Will I order one? Probably not. And again, I have a lot of boards. Currently not like trying to not like get anything new. But I would be happy to try one at some point. I think it would be really nice. But yeah, just mostly in the trying to not spend money on boards right now. Basically what it is. When I saw a polycarb version they showed, I thought they were making an injection molded one. Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess that can be a bit confusing at first glance, but yeah, I mean, if it's really polycarbonate, then it would just be CNC'd. I mean, it's cool. Overall, I like the idea of the KV2. It's really cool that they're doing the base plate stuff, right? Like you can put different bottoms on the board. So cool customizability there. It's kind of reminds me of like the Matrix badges, right? It's like a way to make that base different looking, right? That's kind of cool. But yeah. Also, I mean, Prime, it's not like that's the only MXHKB though, but I guess if you're looking for something like actually new that you can pre-order, then I guess that's one option, yeah. But it's not like that's the only MXHKB, there's quite a few others. Naoki's also putting out the NK Plus. Oh yeah, that's the one that's like a 65 plus macro cluster, if I recall, right? Kind of like a Zenith. Monokey baited? Why? What do you mean baited? What's the bait? They use the McDonald's fry thing. It was for their silicon strip, not the Mix 65. Why would it be for the Mix 65? The Mix 65 is like literally just top mounted too, if I recall. Did they showcase the proto for the K2 at the meetup at their HQ? Oh yeah, I did hear that they had. They've been that entire region has been having a lot of local meetups and stuff. That scene has grown a lot. Like Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam. That whole scene in Southeast Asia has grown a lot in the past few years. It's pretty cool to see. Saw some people thinking that they were making the Perry board. It made sense. It was a McDonald's fry cup. Fair, I guess. SEA Wales build div? I mean, Wales in general, I think it's a different story, right? CA whales got the big dongs. I see what you did there. Although it only technically applies to one country. Done here with the stabs. Pretty much as many stabs as a TKL because we have 5 full stabs here on the 60 with the poker layout. Alright. Last wire. Is it true you can go through a lifetime without winning a Vandal Artisan? Yeah, for sure. For sure. I haven't won one either. And I've entered every sale, well, not every sale since the comeback because I wasn't around when they were active before they like semi-retired for life reasons. But yeah, I haven't won any of them. And I'm not really interested in the aftermarket, so just entering sales normally. Yeah, I mean, the expectation for raffles when it comes for artisans, or keyboards really, as well, is best not to expect too high. You just keep trying. You just keep trying. And if you don't, you know, it's too bad. It's just been how it is for me too, so no different. Fortunately, there's no shortage of amazing artists. Yeah, for sure. That's true. That's true. There definitely is no shortage of amazing artists. Like, there's a lot of cool makers out there. A lot of cool artisan makers, as well as keyboard makers, like designers, right? So, not much to miss out on there. Alright, so stabs are done here. May consider an aftermarket for a Conspire with like traits and such, but that's later on. Ooh, sounds like a big endeavor, but I mean, best of luck. All right, so that's the TX stabs here. So put those new plate mount stabs and test them out with some switches. So I'm gonna go with south facing. Because we got keycaps for the build too, but like keycaps that the client wanted, and you know, they don't have like see-through like translucency on the keycaps themselves, so south facing is fine. It'll still diffuse a lot of the LEDs just okay, and also because those are cherry profile, it'll give it clearance for the rows of relevance, right? So actually, I wanted to kind of compare to you guys, like, there is a pretty decent difference between lubed and stock switches. I'll just like kind of like do side by side on the microphone here, so you can hear it. I don't know why they're being so loud outside. Maybe I'll do it in a bit. After they quiet down. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Probably just, I think it might be people, people who do street cleaning in the evening. I just want to win a Mummy 2 and a box head. All I need. I want to win too. Alright, let's grab keycaps to test. And then maybe I should also grab some of the keycaps from the ones that we ordered, because those should be the ones that sound okay with the steps. What the hell is going on outside, man? Alright, so let's see here. Bit of ticking here. Might put some lube on the left side there. Pretty bad, huh? A lot of movement. Maybe they're in tight with the plate. That's what I'm thinking, actually. There's... actually, the right shift is fine, but the enter and the backspace are a little loose, I feel. Yeah, there definitely is a bit of movement with the plate here. I wonder if I can get it a little bit tighter with some tape on the, let me see on which side of it. Yeah, just like slight bit of tape on the side. You can fold it over, could work. But otherwise, I can always go back to the Gateron stabs, so we can do that as well. So let me try both ways first, though. Okay, give me one sec. Grab a little bit of tape here. Try a little bit of the thinnest tape I have, which is going to be this Captain tape, and then we can try with something a little bit thicker if it doesn't work out. So let's try this first. So I think it's slightly loose on the right and left sides. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on the left and the right there. Just a teeny bit to fold over. Oh, that's my rice cooker. Little jingle, if you don't know. It's so cute. Mr. Piketty, hello. Whoops. Like a little drip of sweat here. Dripping into my eye. Ugh. That's a super quick rice cooker. Yeah, I did the quick mode for the cooking because I had already pre-soaked the rice. So I only did the 40-minute one. So it's been 40 minutes since I pressed it. Normally though, I think the normal cycle is an hour long. And also I didn't cook like a very large amount, so that was why. Kind of fast. All right. Fluff the rice? Yeah, you should go fluff it. I'm gonna let it sit just for a little bit, and then I'll go fluff it in just a bit too. Alright, let's try this. Still a little... this tape is a little too thin, I think. So I'm actually gonna remove this tape. I don't think I like how thin it is. I think I'm gonna use a bit of gaffers maybe. The graphics under each switch is neat. Yeah, I do think it's pretty nice too. I heard the rice cooker jingle from the stream and I thought it was mine for a second. Are you also cooking some rice? That's funny. Oh, I guess the easiest way might be to just put a little square on each side here. So let's see how wide that is. And just apply a small square. Real Asians too cheap to buy a rice cooker and new stove like me? Fair. I mean, it works both ways, so I guess ultimately it doesn't matter how you go about it. But I mean, that works too, you know? Enough. Put this aside. Okay, feels tighter already. Oh, this one is a little bit off. Maybe I should cut it short, to be honest. Okay, that feels tighter on the stab, much tighter. So let me try that. Hello, Soran, how's it going? Oh, much better. Yeah, so the play on the plate is a big factor here. So we're gonna have to address that. So just gonna put a little bit of lube here. Okay, cool. All right, so now we know what we need to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for all of the stab positions, which is going to be a little bit more time consuming, but it should be okay. Oh man, this switch is really tightly in place. There we go. Sorry, I stepped away. What's wrong with the stabs? Yeah, the movement makes the plastic basically make a sound against the plate, rather than the wire making a sound against the plastic of the stab plastic, right? I mean, sorry, the plastic of the stab with the wire of the inside it. So this one right now we're having some play in the between the plate and the stab itself. So I think the easiest way might be just kind of fold it over here. Yep, I think that's easier for me. Okay. That is indeed easier, so let's try this. Yeah, that's okay. Let me show you how different the movement is, because it's a very significant bit, okay? So here is a stab with the tape on the side here so that I can prevent some movement. And here it is with no basically with no tape at all, like nothing to kind of hold it in place. So here, like, actually it might be easier if I just use my hand, but like there is a significant amount of play here. Like you can see how it separates from the plate there quite a bit. And then here, it really just stays, right? So quite a lot of play there, as you can see. So I'm just putting a little piece of tape to kind of keep it in place. And overall, like, they should work for pretty much any plate mount stabs and plates that have openings that are incompatible with each other. But I mean, it's bound to happen because unlike PCB mount, there's not much to hold it in place. So just glue them. I actually don't have a hot glue gun, so even if you suggest the option to glue them, I wouldn't do it because I can't. I don't keep a hot glue gun around. But I mean, I guess that would work. I mean, if you're not afraid of just doing that, I guess that's fine, to be honest. I think Drew would love glued down plate mount stabs unironically. You know, you're probably right. Okay. No wobble, indeed. Oh, actually no wobble though with this, which is nice. Alright, oh, I should go and fluff up the rice, huh? As Kim suggested earlier. Oh yeah, so Drew, are you gonna buy the thing that you told me about? Do you decide against it? For it? Mayhaps? I mean, it's an expensive endeavor, dude. I can't recommend it. Because, you know, each volume, like, it's like a per volume thing. Which goalpost is Drew moving now? The best one, I would say. The most cultured one. The one that he regrets having to move now, but it works fine. Consume. Alright, sweet. Okay, I'm gonna go fluff up that ice though, now. I just gotta put these guys on so that they don't move in place anymore. Nice. That's gonna make a big difference for sure. Okay, cool. BRB. BRB. Alright, I am back. I'm glad JD Cam is back. Yeah, somehow managed to find another camera that could work with that. Because ever since I had the other body, I put it out of commission, but yeah. Alright, let's try these guys now. With these little piece of tape around the stabs. Do you go in 3-on-4 on hack now? Kernel's impossible? Wow, congrats though. That's pretty good. Still hearing a little bit of ticking on the left side, but I think that's a keycap actually. This backspace is really old now. And like, I noticed that I would switch keycaps and I wouldn't hear it. Okay, no ticking by touching lightly. Some ticking when I press harder though. We'll see with a different keycap too. Okay, wire shift's fine. Spacebar sounds good. Do you use different keycaps for testing stabs so you don't stretch out nice sets? No, I mean I just have a set. I have these random caps from like random double shot sets and whatnot that I just have to use. But these are like basically like pre-assigned to just use for testing stabs. That way I don't separate a lot of other key sets. But yeah, like for example, if I'm using like a PBT set for sure for that board, then I prefer testing with those keycaps because PBT and ABS test differently when it comes to stabs. So I try to try it out with both sides, you know. So for example, this one we're gonna use this other key set over here. So client wanted this key set called MW Lilith, which I believe is this Ray themed set. Keycaps got really in disarray because of transit, but I'm just gonna grab the modifier keys here. So just need the 60% stuff. But yeah, okay, I have like basically I have this designated set of caps, and then sometimes I'll use like whatever the actual set is that I'm using. Is MW cherry profile too? It looks to be cherry profile, and it looks to be recessed as well, from what I can see here. It's definitely not OEM, so yeah, it appears to be cherry profile. But it is its own menu, I think, yeah. One of the many, yeah. Okay, backspace sounds fine. Enter sounds a little weird. Oh, maybe it's a switch? I'm not sure, let me see. There's no movement on the stabs. So let's see, maybe it's the switch. Maybe it's just a keycap actually, it's just the sound of the keycap. That's not the stab. But let me check. Yeah, I think that's just the sound of the keycap then. Okay. Alright, that's fine then. Okay, maybe a little bit of lube on the left side here. Let me see if there's any movement. Seems fine. Let me see if I can hold on to the stab here. Okay, that's fine. These caps are a little tight on the stabs here. PBT a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of resistance, probably because of the warping. Okay. I hear a little bit of noise there. Alright, I think the stabs are fine now. Worst case, I can tune them again because they're easy to remove. The enter does sound a little weird, and I don't think it's because of the stab, but I think it's just maybe the switch. Let me see. Maybe the top housing's kind of loose. But yeah, it doesn't sound like amazing. Kind of high pitched. Is it just like that with every set? Let's try. If not, let's see. Okay. Maybe they all kind of just sound like that. I mean, the Switch has a lot of wobble too, which is something I also can tell is an issue. I do wonder if I can, like, I mean, I guess if I use a little strip of tape, I could also keep it in place. But I don't know if I want to do that, but I guess I can try. This opening for the Switch is also kind of just very whatchamacallit, a lot of play for the Switch too, and specifically just for the stab opening areas. Okay, I don't think this is gonna work yet. Let's try a little different strip. My tape. El Quan, hello, how's it going? 4-aminobutanoic acid, hello. What is 4-aminobutanoic acid in layman's terms? Or common name, rather. Yes? Fair. Yeah, this top housing has a lot of play on it. I think it's just a Switch, TBH. That is not the stab sound. Yeah, I think it's a top housing. I think the top housing has a lot of, oh, GABA. Oh, I see, neurotransmitter. I think this top housing has quite a lot of play to it. I think it's just the opening here. And the Switch, because it was already open once, and there's no films for this, you know? There's no Switch films for Lekker Switches, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah, there's no Switch films for Lekker Switches. I think that's the problem. Unlucky, yeah. I do think that part is unlucky. The rest sounds okay though. Like these openings are actually better. But this enter one seems particularly loose. Oh well. Maybe I'll address it later as we go. Let's try the rest though. I want to see if the alphas and the rest are fine. So let's do that. PC's top stretch so much with one open. Yeah, they do. I tried to be really careful with it because I figured it would be just like opening up the you know, like back when clear top Gaterons were still like a bigger thing, or at least Milky Tops like kind of came about a little later, but then like a lot of people would just get clear top stuff. And yeah, I guess if you got any of ZLPC stuff, it's also all clear top, right? And yeah, they stretch a lot. I doubt a custom plate would help that much. Yeah, I don't think it's really a plate problem as much as it is a Switch problem. Because I do think it's just the way the tops clasp onto the bottom housing after you open them. So yeah. I think Switch films for these Lekker Switches would be the ideal thing to have. I do think if they just changed up the clasp mechanism a little between the top and bottom housings for the switches themselves, you would get a pretty significant difference, because you know you could just use maybe like what's available for Cherry MX already, like switch films. So I think that would be the ideal case here, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Oh yeah, I was gonna compare this stock switch with a lube switch, right? So here, let me turn off this fan here. So let me see if I can, like, if you guys can hear this at all. But let's stop the music here. So like this is a stock switch. Let me get this closer. Very high pitch sound to it, and then I lubed it to take care of that like top out sound. It makes a pretty big difference between the two. It's definitely linear, yeah. But the top out sound definitely changes a lot with the lube. So that part at least, I thought that the top out sound for the stock was so unpleasant, but that's just me. They say there's no housing wobble. I'm not sure about that, Chief. I see quite a bit of wobble there between top and bottom housing. But I mean, if that's what they said, then I guess we have to. I mean, I guess the people who want Lekker switches just have to live with it. Could you show the 3 on the PCB real quick? Yeah. Oh. So today we don't have to solder or anything, of course, which is nice. Just pretty much a switch swap, keycap swap, and case swap. And what's kind of nice is that these guys don't even need hot swap sockets, right? Like, it's just a PCB and the plate. There's no soldering involved because it's just all magnets. Genuinely weird to catch a Deagle stream with no soldering. Well, I mean, I do hot swap builds every so often, like when people send out builds with hot swap PCBs. So those cases I am doing no soldering pretty much. It is more often than not that I do solder, but still, I do get sent some hot swap builds every so often. That sounds fine. Alright. Let's just test the PCB here. Make sure that everything's working. Where I'll just show a switch hitter so you guys can see it at the same time. Oh, that's the function key, I think. Yeah, that's the arrow keys, isn't it? A lot of wobble there. Alright, so that works. That's good. Alright, so let's now try to put this into the case. So let's put some of this stuff away. the remainder of the switches. And put these guys away too. Okay, so let's get that case over here, and I'm gonna leave the foam on because they wanted something that was, you know, as stocky as possible. And I did remove the center stand off, and I'm going to be using these little O-rings for the screws. So let's do that. I'm actually just gonna use the screws that were included with the FJELL itself. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all I need. They're slightly longer, I think, so that should be easier for the clearance on pressing it down. So get a few O-rings here. We're gonna do like burger mount basically, which involves it's gonna be like kind of like placing this right on top. Was this PCB harvested? Is Wooting finally? Yeah, it was harvested. So basically just taking it from the like an original, you know, Wooting 60 HE. Would you recommend me to film BCP switches from B-Sun? You can test it out yourself, to be honest. If you open up a switch and you close it, right? Sometimes it'll loosen up some of the housing there. If you feel like the housing wobbles top versus bottom a lot, then you probably should consider using films. But I think if I recall correctly, B-Sun switches, I think people I don't think I see that many people use films on B-Sun. I actually don't even know if you can even fit them, because I think B-Sun manu stuff had really tight housings, if I recall correctly. I don't even think the switches close even with those housings, right? So yeah, you just want to test it out yourself if you do have some switch films around. And if you do have the switches around already, you can just try it out yourself. And if it doesn't seem to close, or if it does seem to give you some trouble, like for example, a linear switch kind of feeling like it's tactile, it's probably because the top and bottom housing are too tight, giving the actuation trouble as well. So there's that to consider. Alright, so let's see here. Place this carefully. Okay. Okay, I got one of them in, which is good. Now let's try this one here. Okay, good. I lost one of those O-rings there. Just gonna take an extra one. It probably just snuck under the PCB. Alright, now we just need to make sure that the lineup is fine. Alright, so everything's in place. Let's try this out. Just making sure that everything's working. Okay, it detects, which is good. Alright, cool. Alright. Let's put some keycaps on this. So the keycaps I have today are these MW Lilith keycaps. Let's get the full set first here. Alright, a little messy here, obviously, because all the other keys kind of got shuffled around in transit. So let's get the alphas here first. I don't think these have novelties actually, so I guess technically I don't really need anything else. Yeah, I don't think I do actually. Ah, okay, cool. Are the mods warped? I definitely can see a little banana-ing from PBT, right? You can definitely see a little bit of that. Like the top part especially. The bottom is flat, but yeah, the top part I definitely see a little bit of that like pretty classic PBT warp. Maybe due to the like the dice up, right? So yeah. You see a little bit of that. Oh, Jason 709, hello. 7 of 9, hello. Reverse dice of how's the printing quality? I'll zoom in on it in just a bit. How about that? Give me like a minute here. It seems decently crisp. Don't notice much fading or feathering, which is nice. So it kind of looks like it did have a few passes of it. Yeah, like especially like the fading should be more noticeable on the sides, which I've noticed with some other key sets, but I don't see that much of it here. The keycaps do look recessed, the blanks themselves. So there's that. And yeah, so the legends do look pretty crisp actually. Alignment looks, there's definitely like a few little things that you could probably nitpick with alignment, but it's actually pretty decent. Any original polyoxymethylene no legend caps available? Blank palms. That's hilarious. Can't wait to hear this FJELL magic. Personally, I think I kind of know what it's gonna sound like, mostly because of the Gateron switches. Gateron switches always sound a certain way, especially these clear top ones. I do kind of wish these Lekker switches came in like milky top variants. That would be kind of nicer, but I don't think they do. Or at least none of the choices that we saw. Clear top is more gamer. This is very true though. You're totally right about that part. It is very gamer to have clear top because of the RGBs. You feel? I actually don't know what legends go where for the alt and the win keys. Gonna have to look that up. I do think, if I recall, this one is control, but I don't know the others. Let me check that actually. Oh. Let's see. Lilith. Katakana. Oops. Okay. So it's this, then this, then this, then this, then this. Okay, cool. Feel like KS20 was a missed opportunity to release Lekker switches and new materials. I do agree. I do agree. I mean, they released those new ones through KBD fans, right? And then I guess eventually we'll probably see all the, like, literally all the variation in Lekker switches. But I think for now, like, the start is, it's like, hey, okay. It's like, it could be better, right? But they'll get there, hopefully, you know? I remember having to Google transfers for ePVT modern JA mods. Yeah, I mean, I just checked the original render. That's the easiest way, I think. Oops, sorry, a little fart sound from the box. I wonder why I don't have switch films for them. Well, didn't someone else say earlier? It's because they didn't consider that it had wobble, basically, or at least, I mean, consider that the Lekker switches first came out with the Wooting, right? Apparently they were like, oh, we don't need switch films. Oops. Oh, sorry, it's probably my cable. This cable's getting. Huh? Wait. Is it the connector? There you go. Yeah, it's my cable. It's being weird. All right. So, shall we put an artisan on this? Something light blue, I guess. Light blue, light blue. Because there is this pine blink, kind of cute. There is something that's not all light blue. It's a cool turtle. There's a bongo, and I guess, and then there's the longest hug from Maison. Also, this is OEM. Might look a little weird. And then, oh, I guess there's this little leafy light blue as well. Actually, this turtle goes better with that one. Oh, and then I guess this ominous also looks kind of nice. Kind of fits it best, I guess. At least color-wise. So those are some of the options we get. Oh, wait. There was also this bad boy. Rubber hose. Also nice. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of show you the options here. 1, 2, you can maybe say which ones you like. Not all of them, of course, just one. Is it done? Almost. We're choosing an artisan just to put on top just because I always put little artisan keycaps. The big bat is pretty nice, yeah. 1, 2. Can I hear the taps? Oh yeah, that'll be in just a sec. All right, let's do the rubber hose cap. I think that'll look good. Yeah. All right. All right, let's try this out. Okay, so where's the monkey type thingy? Okay, here. All right, let's move the microphone over. There, and let's you can try looking at it from the side too, I guess. Here's the look from the side. Let me just focus a little bit there. How's that? It's kind of cool. Let's see here. Let's reset this guy here, and let's turn off the music. All right, let's give it a shot here. Here we have it, the Wooting 60 in a FJELL case now, with lube switches and new keycaps, and we have some dampening from the foam. We also have some O-rings for the screws. So hopefully it sounds nice. Let's give it a shot and see how it goes, yeah? All right. I make a lot of mistakes because the switches are so light. I tend to actuate them too easily. I like the spacebar. Yeah, I like the spacebar too. It kind of sounds a little deeper. It's a little different from what I expected. It actually sounds a little different from what I originally expected. I actually expected something more, a little bit more high pitched, a little bit more rattly actually, because the top housings do fit a little bit like loosely over the bottoms. But actually, it sounds pretty good. Definitely not so hollow because we do have some foam in the case. But and the PVT caps definitely mute out a little bit of the sound, but it sounds pretty good. Yeah. Can I hear the space again? Yeah, sure. Yeah, hear the mods. Yeah, no, it sounds pretty good. I'm actually kind of surprised. I definitely expected worse, not gonna lie. Mostly because the stock Wooting, like the stock Lekker switch rather, doesn't sound great. The top out sound is kind of On the plasticky side, after you lube it, you can get rid of a lot of that top out sound, but you know, and then you lube the spring, get rid of a bit of the spring crunch. But you know, once you open it, the housing loosens up and it can rattle a bit, but actually it doesn't sound bad. So yeah, I'm actually pretty pleased with how this sounds. And it looks nice. The silver against the keycaps here is a nice contrast, rather than a perfectly matching like E-white case with the E-white caps and stuff, like E-white mods here. I do like the slight contrast between the silver and the rest of the cap, so that also turned out nice. Yeah, I think it sounds good. But yeah, I think using a different plate would also sound different. Like, I think if this weren't the steel, so this is the stock steel plate from the Wooting 60HE. If this had like a plastic plate, which I think there's plans for them. I think Wooting's working on, or they have like new files and like new plates going on, right? Like a new buy for it, right? There's like a pre-order for them. But yeah, like if you use a different plate, it would definitely sound a lot different. I do actually wonder if it's possible to do PCB mount stabs on the PCB for the Wooting. That would be great. Personally, not huge on plate mount. Plate mount just leaves a lot of room for error, and with like those, like, you know, whether the mounting of the stabs is tight enough, which we had to solve through just applying a little bit of tape, right, to have the stabs not rattle around there in the cutouts. So there's that kind of stuff. Like, I do hope they move towards PCB mount stabs, something that, you know, like you can just buy, like cherry clip-ins, you can buy TX, you can buy Durox, right, whatever, right? A lot of options. I mean, now there's like TX plate mounts and all that too, but still, I do think like PCB mount would be cool. And yeah, I do know that they have a PC plate, a polycarb plate, as an option. It's currently a pre-order. We didn't want to wait. Client didn't want to wait, right? So we decided to just go with this, right? But yeah, so I do think obviously there's always room for improvement, but at the same time, you know, I think this turned out pretty nicely. So I'm gonna unplug that and move this. Oh, hello, Matt. How are you? Oh, looks like there's a... Oh, never mind. All right, so actually, let me plug it in just so that the RGB can shine through. But, whoop, the autofocus here, and it's kind of bright here. But this is what it looks like. The RGB is kind of hard to see because the lights here are super bright. I'm actually gonna turn off the light here, so you can see the RGB better around the caps. Nice and even RGB, which is nice. So that looks good. If you're concerned about that, so this is with south facing. So these are south facing switches right now, and you can actually still see the RGB through around the caps. So that's pretty good. Not much bleeding. And pretty consistent lighting there, so does still look good with south facing, so no interference with cherry profile caps either, so that looks nice. And yeah, so that's from there, and from the side you can see looks like this. And yeah, I just noticed these switches look like Rama ducks. Oh yeah, they kind of do, the same style from... They're also, well, I guess the ducks are they JWKs maybe? Or are they also Gateron? I actually don't remember. But yeah, how's that? Looks nice, huh? Ducks are Gateron? Oh, okay, so I guess the similarity is, the resemblance is uncanny, right? Alright. Anyway, there goes our... there's our pick for the video, and yeah, so yeah, what do you guys think? I think it looks nice. Here's the keycaps. Here's the bottom, the FJELL, very shiny anno, but actually pretty smooth, decently consistent. I think it looks nice. Some fingerprint marks here, just mostly my hands just being kind of greasy. but it looks good, I think. Bias sound test? I can do that. Sure, why not? Let's see here. I'll just do it here without like just gonna turn the mic like this, kind of, sort of. Not over, but you'll still be able to hear it. Yeah, this is what the bias sounds like. This is with Cherry MX Black's exclamation keyword for the info on the build. Nice board would look better in red. I like the black one. It goes well with the weight underneath. So no plans to infill the logo. I might in the future, but not right now. No, I mean, I haven't done it just yet. Like, I don't have the materials for it. But yeah, maybe in the future I'll infill the logo as well. Ozzy Keycaps EJ6, he did a wonderful job in filling his with Miami Nights colors. Magenta and cyan, and it looked fantastic, so I might steal that idea from him and do that. Yeah, this sounds good too, actually, though. Like, this sounds really nice. The spacebar I like the sound of. When did I move to a new place? I moved once. I moved out of my old place like at the end of May, and then I moved like with my partner for a bit, and then we moved to a new place in July, August. Yeah. I wonder if they can make tactile Lekker switches. Oh, yeah, I wonder. I mean, they would just have to add like a physical bump to it, right? I think that's all you need to do. Is like adding like a physical bump. The actuation would still just depend on the travel distance, so they could just manipulate based on that. The only thing would be to have the actuation always match that of the bump, right? So just getting that consistency. But maybe it would defeat the point of Hall effect, yeah, because it would change like that function. I love the RGB. Yeah, RGB is nice. I mean, gonna turn off the light there, and that's what the RGB looks like. So I think some of y'all are in ads right now, so I can wait. Yeah, look at all that RGB though. Looks good though, to be honest. It looks nice and even. I do like RGB like this rather than shine through. Shine through RGB is cool to some extent, but I prefer it around the caps. I think it looks nicer. What song is this? It's called Jazzy Beach Trip. I'm just using like these non-licensed copyright-free music from these guys named Panda Beats. Creating a tactile feed without a leaf? Yeah, it would be some kind of physical obstacle, right? In the travel. Alright, woo! Bright. Okay. Makes me want to order more Insta LEDs. Yeah, right? There's those people, I mean, the people who built like their ducts with all the, like V2 builds all his boards with LEDs now, I think. He's been building those all without Insta LEDs. Kind of a crazy amount of work. I'm not gonna lie. But kudos to him for doing that. It's just a lot of work though. Alright, so I'm going to probably wrap it up here for this build. But this actually is a build intended for a prior client of mine, which I guess it doesn't matter if we just say who it is, but he is actually currently doing a subathon. He is a VTuber named Sens. And if you want to go ahead and support him, we're gonna go shoot a raid over, and yeah, but this will be over to Sens's place soon enough. But yeah, gamer keyboard for the mans. Someone said my trigger word. What, VTuber? Is that the person you built a white KBD75? Yeah, that's right. Same person. They actually decided not to go with a white case this time because they already have one. So they're like, oh, I want something that's not white, and so we went with silver. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up here. The next build I'm gonna do later in the week / maybe the weekend. I'm actually kind of trying to figure out the schedule for that. Is going to be the Martingale by Elven Monster. It's going to be running through Click-Clack.io. I got a new prototype for it. I'm prepping switches for that, and also just have this like big work deadline this week, so I'm just trying to like figure out my schedule. But that'll probably be the next stream. So 60% keyboard, just like this one. Yeah, I'll be doing that on the next stream. I'll let you guys know when I decide to do that. I actually have to figure out a schedule anyway. With Click.io and Elven Monster, so but yeah, I'll be building that next time. But in the meantime, I'm probably gonna wrap it up here. VTubers freak me out. I don't think it's any different from like just people talking with, I mean, it's like people talking with no webcams essentially. They just use an avatar, right? Anyway, all right, let's go raid Mr. Sens. I believe he should be online. Say meow go raid new keyboard poggers. Max RGB for gaming. Meow go. I don't have an RGB thing emote, so we'll just say meow go hypers. All right. Lightning with lightning read. All right, there it is. I prefer no webcam instead of talking devil spawn. That's fair. All right, well, anyway, all right guys, I'll see you guys on the next one. But again, thanks for coming by, checking out this Wooting build. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good rest of your week. Thank you so much for coming by. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye, take care.